Hey guys, welcome back to the Diet Doc Life Mastery Podcast. I'm Joe Klemczewski, founder of the Diet Doc with Dr. Kori Propst, our health psychologist. And we're finishing up a 3-part series on convenience. And my goal for this was to cover a lot of bases between the acute convenience needs, Kori. We talked a lot about meal prep and all those normal things that we think about. We are going to talk today a little bit more about the long-term convenience aspects, how to really engineer your life to make these decisions stick, because we know that's one of the issues. A lot of people, the New Year's resolution crowd is probably kind of out of the gym by now, and they didn't do that. They did not do something to make it stick. But there's another part of convenience I want to talk about, which is the fact that not everything that is worthy, everything that has value will be convenient. So we've got to make sure we structure other parts of our lives so that what really matters can be achieved. So with all of that, Kori, today, the long-term aspects, the first thing I thought of, and then I'll let you jump in, is I have a great home gym, quote unquote, but it's in my office. But my office is 10 miles away from my home. So sometimes I'm at home and I'd love to train. I want to drive 10 miles away. There's a gym within a couple miles of my house. There's also a yoga studio, because I really am at that stage in my life where I think a week of yoga could really benefit me. But I've held off on both of those decisions. I have not joined the gym and I have not signed up for those yoga classes because I know the way my schedule is, it's not going to happen. I'm going to get those things. I'm going to spend the money and it's going to sit there. So I'm waiting to make the long-term decision of committing to that until I know I can take advantage of it fully. And I think that's part of this whole equation we're talking about.
I agree with you, Joe. I think we need to be realistic and honest with ourselves and ask the question, am I really going to take advantage of this? I mean, it sounds good, a gym within walking distance of work, the yoga studio within walking distance as well. And this is something that you've told me I could do this with my daughter. So now there's some connection time there between the two of you. But am I really going to make room for it in my life? That's a really important piece. I also appreciate the fact that you mentioned values. This is a topic that we come back to repeatedly because it's so valuable, and values really kind of form the foundation. When we ask the question, is this really something I'm going to do? Is it connected to my values? Well, yeah. I mean, you have a high value of health, right? And staying fit and having a solid relationship with your daughter. And you have all of these other values in your life too. And where I think we may get bogged down is, I think when some people are honest with themselves and they say, yeah, no, I'm probably not going to use that, even though it would be convenient. It's almost like they believe that they're shirking that value of health if they don't engage in that behavior. And I look at values more on a kind of like a sliding scale perspective, day to day, week to week, month to month. If I eat sushi and I've committed to not eating animals for whatever period of time, if I go eat sushi, am I switching off the value of reducing animal agriculture and humane treatment of animals and stopping overfishing? I don't think I am. I think what's happening in that moment is that value has been dialed back as other values like pleasure and comfort and spontaneity and freedom take precedence. So it's kind of like a teeter-totter.
I'm just in my mind, I'm thinking, look at you. California is really changing you now after 3 or 4 years being out there. And you're talking about fish agriculture and all of that.
Well, I mean, hold up. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything because that's
I've been there.
No. Opened a can of worms right there. I'm going to shut it right now.
Okay, we'll save that for later. Let me throw this in there because it goes exactly with what you said. I'm going back to our Diet Doc program owner company forum, and some of our Diet Doc program owners have been answering this question for us, giving us some great ideas. And something this simple made an amazing impression on me. Candace Platts, who is the Diet Doc program owner of Haverhill, Massachusetts, right on the New Hampshire border there, she said something as simple as a 6-pack fitness cooler, the ones that have the little sliding trays for your meals and all this stuff.
Yep.
That does fit for long-term convenience, because if I'm going to spend money on this thing and invest in it and have it in my kitchen, that's something that I'm going to use. And so I think that's a really good idea. I'll go back to some of these here in a minute, but I just thought that was a great turning point, going from that short-term meal prep idea to long-term.
Absolutely. Yeah. The practical stuff like that is really, really, like yesterday you talked about having certain appliances in your kitchen that you know you're going to use almost daily because they provide such they're time saving and effort saving.
So another thing, I'll get back to my example, because I love what you said, coming back to values. Of course, those are values of mine, but we only have so much time, so much energy, so much money. And so we do have to pick and choose what we're going to put in our lives. And this is the real focal point for me about talking long-term convenience is how can I adjust my entire schedule, my entire thought process to make sure these things fit? Because realistically, we know, 95, 98% of people fail to lose weight sustainably.
Yeah.
We often, buy billions of dollars a country of exercise equipment, and it just collects dust. And so, what really is the problem? I think the number one issue, if we talk to every single one of those people, what they just did not factor in, how could I do this long term? Once that energy, fades and I have to actually exert some discipline to do this, it's often not will. It's not, do I really want this? I did not adjust parts of my life to make this new value more convenient, easier to access on a daily basis than other things that I do call values.
Well, and too, Joe, don't you think that sometimes the value that you regard especially highly right now isn't necessarily going to be the same value that you value especially highly later? So, yeah. But to your point, yeah, what am I willing to, and am I okay with sacrificing in order to make this a bigger piece of the pie of my life?
Right.
So I could live by myself, and I could have a lot more time to ride my bike and spend on other things besides taking care of a relationship, but it's worth the sacrifice for me.
Exactly. And so some of those are concessions. So we did promise we're going to go through some tangible things.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going back through our Diet Doc program owners here, and they're all mostly still giving food prep ideas. Elizabeth Brouillard, our owner in the Worcester area, Massachusetts, has some great ideas about staying flexible, talking about you've got those values, you've got these things, but you still need to give yourself time. Roseanne Piper in Alberta, Canada, our program owner up there and one of your mindset motivation coaches. She talked about accountability being key. So I think that's a great one. If like you talked about me wanting to do some of these things with my daughters, if I said, hey, we're going to get a membership as a family and we're going to do a yoga class on Friday nights, we're going to do this, then all of a sudden, guess who's going to show up? Because now I have other people there to share it with.
So you bring up a very good point with this connection piece and accountability / support piece being crucial. Why? Because the things that we're going to be willing to go through inconvenience for are going to be closely tied to our basic psychological needs. Connection, that sense of belonging and relatedness with others. Autonomy, because it provides us a sense of agency right? And a sense of volition. Like this cycling thing that I'm doing, this cycling thing, not convenient at all, but damn if I don't feel a sense of freedom and passion around it, right? It's that agency and purpose with it. And then competence. I'm getting smarter. I feel more intelligent. These things that really prompt and serve to nourish us, like emotionally, mentally, spiritually, even in terms of fun and leisure and recreation, you know, that help us to feel overall more motivated, even when they're inconvenient, are the things that we're going to stick to.
Yep. One of the stories I often end up talking to clients about, and this is a perfect way to summarize this entire series, is that, you know, we do want to work on those short-term and long-term convenience factors. We want to make this as easy as possible, but there are still going to be days, because this is a biological phenomena, this is a psychological phenomena. There are just going to be some days that, like any discipline, you just have to quit whining, shut the fuck up, and just do it. Because the feelings often follow the action if you wait. And I know I'm stealing this right from you, Kori, and other people.
Take it.
You know, if you wait till you feel like doing it, then everything is perfect. All the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Life is amazing. And now you can do it perfectly. Nothing's going to happen.
Exactly. If I listen to that first thought of, I don't feel like it, I don't want to, or I'm too tired, or maybe tomorrow, or the dishes can wait, like I would be a procrastinating mess. Nothing would ever get done, and I would never accomplish a single thing.
Right. So I do think to make all of this stuff stick, you really do have to focus on what we talked about in the first 2 7/8 podcasts in the series, which is make sure you are creating paths of convenience so that it's right there. You can do it. But at the same time, if it really is a value, you really want to change, you want something better, there is a price you have to be willing to pay. And you just have to decide, if I can stick in this long enough, then like you said, Kori, all of a sudden I will have some of those basic psychological needs met. Then all of a sudden I will be drawn to this new thing that was so difficult for me to start, you know, for years. Now all of a sudden it's part of my core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that you said, I can't remember what you said, but my words are mood follows action. So
there you go.
Yeah, let's not follow that first thought of, I don't feel like it. Let's allow the pause and the space to say, wait, on second thought, take the action, and then we'll feel the way that we want to.
Perfect note to end it on. Joe, I like what you said, whatever it was you said.
I don't remember.
Whatever
Here are my
you know.
words.
All right, guys, that's it. We're going to wrap up right here in this 3 little mini series on convenience, get back into some other things. So thanks once again for watching, listening, subscribing, and sharing. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.